I have been sitting here staring at my coffee thinking about this team, and honestly, the cycle of drama surrounding our Cleveland Browns is enough to make anyone's head spin. Today, a new report surfaced regarding the status of the quarterback room that could shake up everything we thought we knew heading into the summer. What makes this so interesting is the timing and the potential shift in momentum that has everyone buzzing behind the scenes. The more details emerge, the harder it is to ignore the implications for our upcoming season. Please hit that like button, subscribe, and drop your name and city in the comments below. Let's get into it. Deshaun Watson has returned to the team facility, officially dragging us back into the never-ending cycle of quarterback drama that defines the current Cleveland Browns experience. Since his blockbuster arrival, Watson has remained the central figure of our frustration, defined by a massive contract, recurring injury struggles, and inconsistent play that keeps every fan on edge. He arrived in Cleveland amidst immense controversy, and after 19 starts, he still feels like a total enigma rather than the franchise savior we were promised. According to reports from Mary Kay Cabot, Watson was back in the building this week, working alongside his private physical therapist and quarterback's coach, with plans to host an upcoming passing camp in South Florida. The news confirms that Shadir Sanders will participate in those sessions instead of running his own program, signaling that despite all the media noise, they are acting as teammates for now. The emotional reaction from the Dawg Pound has been a mixture of complete exhaustion and defensive skepticism, because this team has conditioned us to view every minor update as a potential disaster waiting to happen. We are tired of the constant referendum on his footwork and rep counts before the pads even go on in July. And honestly, this news hits us so hard because we are desperate for a stable answer under head coach Todd Monken instead of another season of national content farm speculation. It feels like we are stuck in a loop, searching for clarity while the internet treats every Instagram like as a massive turning point for the season. The bottom line here is that while Watson remains the focus, our patience is wearing thin as we wait for real, consequence-bearing football action to prove who should actually be leading this offense when September finally arrives. And here is where it gets interesting because this quarterback drama traces back to the massive 5-year guaranteed contract signed years ago that still anchors our salary cap. Since joining us, Deshaun Watson has struggled with repeated shoulder injuries and lingering inconsistencies that have kept him off the field for significant stretches. We have seen this movie before with various signal callers in this city where high hopes collide with physical limitations and create a toxic cycle of uncertainty. The reality is that we are staring at a massive financial burden that makes benching him an incredibly complicated maneuver for the front office. Behind closed doors, Todd Monken is likely weighing the immediate necessity of stability against the long-term potential of a younger roster piece. He understands that while the contract demands a starter, the locker room performance requires a leader who can execute the offense without hesitation or recurring health scares. The organization is trapped between protecting a high-stakes investment and needing to produce actual wins on the field. They are looking at the same limited sample size we see, evaluating whether his mobility and arm talent can survive a full season behind a developing offensive line unit. It is a balancing act of massive proportions that tests every nerve in the building. If the coaching staff decides to pivot, they have to navigate the fallout of effectively writing off a significant portion of their resources. What nobody is talking about is the pressure on the front office to justify these past decisions while simultaneously trying to field a competitive team for the fans. We all want to believe that this time is different, but the weight of our franchise history reminds us that no amount of money can guarantee a successful season. We keep waiting for the breakthrough, yet we remain stuck in this cycle. Go Dogs! And here is why that is a big deal right now for us as Cleveland Browns fans, because the perpetual uncertainty surrounding our signal caller creates a paralyzing fog over every single tactical decision Todd Monken needs to execute. This isn't just about headlines, it is about the structural integrity of a season that hinges on finding a cohesive identity before the real heat of September arrives. The immediate impact on our roster is that the salary cap remains heavily tethered to a high-stakes gamble, preventing us from reinforcing depth in other critical areas like the secondary or the interior defensive line because we have so much capital locked into the current quarterback room. If we pivot to the younger alternative, we essentially signal a total reset, which forces a shift in how we approach our early season matchups against high-powered offenses that expect a veteran presence on the other side of the field. This uncertainty directly affects our standing in the AFC North, where consistency is the only currency that matters against the tactical discipline of Zach Taylor in Cincinnati. If we cannot establish a rhythm early, our playoff chances become increasingly precarious because the margins in this division are historically thin and unforgiving. Think about it this way. If our offense remains in a state of constant transition, we risk falling behind the pack before we even get a chance to see how our squad handles the pressure of a late-season push. We need to stop worrying about social media optics and focus on the fundamental execution that defines playoff contenders. The bottom line here is that until this team chooses a definitive path forward, we remain stuck in a loop of speculative frustration that keeps us from truly competing with the elite franchises across the rest of the league. The strongest argument for keeping Deshaun Watson at the helm is his elite experience and the sheer financial investment the organization made, which assumes a return to form could elevate this team into a legitimate Super Bowl contender immediately. If he captures his previous ceiling, the Browns possess an offensive ceiling that a younger, unproven talent simply cannot replicate during a high-stakes playoff run. Conversely, the major downside remains his inconsistent injury history and the mounting pressure that often seems to disrupt his rhythm, potentially wasting another championship window if the chemistry just never clicks. Around the league, analysts like Albert Breer suggest that Todd Monken acts as a stabilizing force, while rival front offices are watching closely to see if Cleveland forces a square peg into a round hole. Meanwhile, guys like Kevin Stefanski down in Atlanta or the staff in Washington are likely betting that our internal drama will eventually force a coaching pivot. What nobody is talking about is how this constant uncertainty might actually be wearing down the locker room morale before we even reach the dog days of August. And I will be straight with you. I believe we are currently overthinking the optics of this roster battle while ignoring the basic reality that the best player must simply win the job on the field. My honest take here is that if the staff continues to coddle the veteran instead of letting the competition play out organically, we risk alienating the entire fan base and stalling our offensive progress. We need to stop worrying about the headlines and start focusing on whoever can effectively execute Monken's scheme once the lights come on in September. The Dawg Pound deserves clarity, not a daily soap opera that distracts from the ultimate goal of winning an AFC North title. The bottom line here is that the direction of this franchise hinges on Todd Monken finding a sustainable identity that balances veteran expectations with the urgent need for a new chapter under center. We are currently witnessing a pivotal transition where the front office must decide if we are clinging to the past or embracing the potential of a high ceiling with new talent. As Cleveland Browns fans, we should feel cautiously optimistic but guarded, because this team has navigated enough turbulence to know that summer headlines rarely translate to winter success. You should feel relieved that we have actual options, yet skeptical until the real games begin, because trusting the process is only possible when you see tangible progress on the field. The uncertainty surrounding Watson and Sanders creates a unique tension that forces us to move beyond the hype and focus on the gritty reality of September football. We must demand consistency from the coaching staff rather than chasing viral social media moments that carry zero weight in the AFC North. If we allow ourselves to be consumed by the daily quarterback drama, we lose sight of the bigger picture, which involves building a roster capable of competing well past the postseason gate. The truth is that your patience serves as the ultimate weapon against the endless cycle of media noise currently suffocating the building. With training camp just around the corner, I want to hear your take on who gives us the best chance to win in Week 1. Do you believe Monken will commit to the veteran, or is it finally time to let the younger player lead this squad to glory? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Dawg Pound. I'll see you in the next one.